rise. Kicker unmasked, live it loud. Break the silence, join the crowd. Rock the planet, feel the fire. Shake the world, lift it higher. Whoa! Wires twist like veins of steel. Born to crush, born to feel. Lightning runs through every chord. Power surge, the final word. Shatter chains with sonic waves. Carve the air like razor blades. No escape, no retreat. Victory tastes so sweet. Kicker unmasked, live it loud. Break the silence, join the crowd. Rock the planet, feel the fire. Shake the world, lift it higher. Hey, yeah.
Hey guys, it is Tuesday night. We're coming to you live from Stillwater, Oklahoma. Well, in fact, if you're watching this later, we're no longer live. But all kidding aside, today is Veterans Day. And I want to take my hat off to all you veterans. Thank you guys so much for your service. And I want to apologize to any young children that had to witness this head. But all joking aside, thank you again for your service. You know, we probably wouldn't be here without you guys. So it takes a lot of dedication and a lot of, you know, guts to do what you guys do, and we appreciate it. So if you guys saw us on the last show, we had a great show. We had our guest Tim McCarthy from HushMat. We learned more about sound damping, not dampening. We're not making the vehicles wetter, so it is damping material. And I tell you what, I've always been a firm believer, the more the merrier with any of that type of stuff. I mean, you can't go wrong. It's like power wire. You can't put too big a power wire in, and you can't put too much sound damping material in a vehicle. So we've got a little bit of a light crew tonight. We're just coming back from SEMA, which is why we're here to talk about SEMA. We are shy Colin, and he's not going to be here tonight due to illness, and we're also shy Steven. So we're on a skeleton crew. It's me. We got JW back there running the console, along with his sidekick Ernie, or maybe Ernie is, you know, I don't know. One of them's a sidekick. They're always kicking each other back there anyway. And my special guest tonight will be one of our other trainers you know very well, which will be Jacob Luckey. We're going to be talking about this SEMA show. So guys, don't forget, if you haven't registered for tonight's prizes, kicker.com/UMweekly. Register for today's prizes. As usual, we're going to give away the TWS2s, the TWS1s, and the BF100 for the grand prize winner. You're also going to get the gray unmasked t-shirts and the Kicker koozie. And hope you guys win. And if this is your first time, hit that like and subscribe. We're going to go to a commercial quick. We're going to come back and we bring on my guest host. Guest host, is that right? Are you a guest or are you a host? He's a guest host. We'll call him both. So we're going to bring Jacob up and we're going to go into what we experienced at SEMA this year. And obviously, we're probably going to talk about some new products too. So we'll see you back here in between 30 and 60 seconds. I don't know which commercial Ernie's going to run.
For more than 50 years, Kicker has been rocking the planet on anything that moves. Kicker, the legacy continues.
Kicker Performance Audio. For almost 50 years, we've been rocking the planet with our world-class product covering everything that drives you, whether in your car, truck, boat, motorcycle, side-by-side, or even on your head. Kicker Performance Audio's passion for bringing you your favorite music like you've never heard it before is what drives us. So wherever you need us, Kicker Performance Audio will be there for you.
Welcome back, guys. Hey, I got to tell you, thanks again for all of you tuning in out there. And we've seen a lot of, very common names. We got Bobby Burkett. We got Brian Gary out there. Of course, Living Loud with Andy. Andy will not be doing a show tonight. Sorry about your health there, Andy. Hope you get feeling better. I know firsthand, and we'll talk about that when we come up, what it's like to be sick. But, we've got a lot of great guys tuning in. Jason WW 2000 as usual. And, guys, got any questions? There's some questions we can answer and some we can't, right, Jacob?
Yeah, absolutely. You guys know the drill.
We'll get into that as soon as we can, and hopefully product by product. But I know a lot of you guys are tuning in to see what went on at SEMA. Now, if you guys have never been to SEMA, I'm sorry. That's all I can say. If you're a car guy and you've never been there, you need to go one way or another, figure out how to go. I've been going to SEMA since 1998, and the only time I've ever missed going was during, of course, wonderful COVID. And the last trip, last week, I did go to SEMA, but unfortunately I assume it was food poisoning. Yeah. I got very sick, and I basically was told to put my butt on a plane and go home. So yeah. I missed a lot of the really cool things. I was there for setup Sunday a little bit, and Monday tuning some cars, got sick Monday night and was not there Tuesday. Showed up Wednesday, at least in body, not in spirit. I mean, I was physically there, but wasn't really feeling it.
It was like the ghost of John wandering around.
And Thursday showed up, and they said, we can do this without you. And yes, they can. They can do it very well. But it's always disappointing because that is my favorite show, absolutely, in the world and of the year. And it's where I get to go out and see a lot of the good friends that I talk with all the time. That's the only time I get to see a lot of those guys. Mm-hmm. And I didn't get to do much of that this year. But still, had a good time. Of course, ran into my buddy Tim McCarthy. It was kind of funny. Walked into the Westgate, which is the hotel that's attached to the convention center. The very first person I see that I know is Tim McCarthy sitting at the table there having a meeting. So it's ironic that we had him on the show, and he was the first one I saw, and I didn't give him a chance to even buy me dinner. I got sick and had to leave. So
isn't it crazy? You think of our industry as being pretty big, but it's actually really small, and we see a lot of the same guys at the same hotels we stay at when we go to SEMA. I mean, the Orleans is where we stay. That's pretty much the 12-volt hotel,
at least for a lot of us.
Yeah. But
it's really bad when you go to a casino in Las Vegas and the car hops know you by name.
Well, I'm starting to recognize the people that work in the restaurants down there.
Yeah, and they used to recognize us too. But we spend a lot of time in the Orleans, and it's not bad. It's our home away from home for a week and sometimes more, depending on how many times we go to Vegas. I mean, we used to do CES, which is the January show, which is the electronics equivalent, but we stopped doing that 5 or 6 years ago because it pretty much there's no return on investment. Mm-hmm. Pretty much everybody in the electronics industry knows who we are, so we're not really doing much. And people ask, so why do you go to SEMA? Well, we're going to show you one of the reasons we go to SEMA when we get into some of the new products. It's really a huge networking show for us where we meet so many industry people, and I was not in the booth a whole lot, but I know you were in the booth for a while. How busy was? I mean, the time I was there, it looked like it was crowded, but we've never had a bad SEMA, have we?
No, we haven't ever had a bad SEMA, but this year was kind of the perfect storm of a lot of good things. So the first day, it was pretty much shoulder to shoulder. We had the new GM truck bed sub that we were unveiling at SEMA. So at one point we had like a lot of the GM executives gathered around the truck, a lot of GM people, and they were listening to that. But at the same time, we had a ton of people coming to check out all of the new aftermarket product that we were unveiling. So we had a big crowd around the Solo XS. We had a big crowd around that center pedestal, which is where we tend to put all of our new stuff.
That's where it should be.
Where it should be, right. And then not to mention all the vehicles that we had up front. We had Mia Chapman's jet ski up there. We had a Subaru Crosstrek that our guys built in the back with.
I've got pictures.
Yeah, so show the guys.
We're going to show you pictures. If you guys have never been to SEMA, this is obviously before the show opened. So you're not going to see a lot of people because we can't take pictures of the booth after it opens. So just so many people. But you were just talking about, Mia's, jet ski in back. And of course that little KICKER Subaru, that's what the guys in back, Tim and Josh and Chase put together. I mean, an incredible sounding little Subaru, and I got a picture of the back of it we'll show you as we get going through here. Isn't this exciting? This is the back of the booth. I mean, So it's just some cool pictures we put on the backside. We do have 2 levels. If you notice, there is a staircase going up to the 2nd level, which is where we have our meeting rooms, and we got a break area, and it's where you can actually go and get a not really a bird's eye, but a halfway bird's eye view of everything else going on in the convention hall.
All I know is that's where we keep the cookies and the coffee.
Yeah, and the crackers, and all kinds of good stuff, and the potato chips. And so this is not the best picture. I've got a better picture I'm going to show you here in a little bit, but this is one of our OEM sales managers' trucks. So this is that Chevy truck, and as you can see, here again, we're going to complain about, I forgot to bring my wireless mouse down. But right here in the corner of the bedside, this is the product we've been talking about, and I'll give you the details on it when we get to the better picture on it. We'll do that when we go to the installs. But, we've offered this tailgate system down here, and I was actually talking with Chuck McLennan, one of our OEM sales guys, and I said, Chuck, how many of those have we sold? And we originally were contracted with GM to build 3,000 to 5,000 of these, which is a pretty decent number to build. And I asked Chuck, I said, well, how many of these have we sold so far? And Chuck puts his head down, he says, well over 300.
Yeah, try 100 times.
Yeah, 300,000 of them. And we can't make them fast enough. So they liked it so well, they actually asked us to create something in addition to that, which is that little box you see in the right quarter panel there, which consists of a comp RT8 and a passive radiator. And the neat thing about this is it plugs into the amplifier that already powers the Power Sports 4-inch speakers down there. So there's no extra amplifier, just plugs in line and uses all the power from that amp. And no one could believe the power we got out of this with that amplifier, that little Power Sports amp.
Well, yeah, I mean, you get a bunch of bass, which is what that system was needing with 4-inch speakers. But the cool thing, like John said, it uses that same amplifier. So you're not affecting the current draw of the amplifier. You still have, 8 hours of listening time with the key off before?
Oh, yeah, I don't even know.
But
I think I can zoom in on this a little bit better for you guys.
What you guys see in the middle of the bed there is kind of the passive crossover network that they use to get this to work. It's just kind of zip tied to a ABS plastic board. But that just was kind of to display how we got it to work.
That actually tucks down inside the tailgate. But what a really cool idea and what a neat product. So moving right along, this is actually underneath the meeting area. That's underneath that 2nd level. We've got a great little collage. If you guys have ever seen our little private museum here in Stillwater, very similar with pictures, from all the history of Kicker posted back there. And of course, we've got this great little LX display on the left side. And then lo and behold, right over here, the fabulous Solo XS woofer cutaways. So it's kind of nice to sit back under here. You can have meetings. You can wait for people. We got storage lockers. A couple stools to set on. So, if you want to get away from people, you can kind of sometimes tuck yourself back under there and hide. They always seem to find me, even when I'm trying to hide and get something to drink.
Yeah, they can sniff us out.
So here's another shot of the booth, and you see the little yellow and silver car. That is actually an electric rally car. And I forgot the guy's name that drives it. He's probably the biggest name when it comes to that rally car racing. And 4 electric motors in this little thing, and they asked us to make the cars make noise.
Yeah, well, it's a 1,000 horsepower rally car. It's got to make some kind of noise.
So you can kind of see, I keep forgetting I got Zoom here, and I really should have brought my mouse. But I'm going to zoom in on this real quick because you can kind of see this peeking out from the bumper there, the KMXLs. So there's a pair of 8-inch KMXLs in the back, and there's one under each front fender, and they make these really weird, almost R2-D2 electronic car noises.
Yeah,
so.
it sounds like a Tron car or something.
Yeah, it really does. It's actually really cool, and it's really loud.
Yeah.
They play this back in the OEM R&D area, and it echoes through this entire warehouse. But that's what they wanted. They wanted loud, and they came to us. So we're living loud, and we're going to make them loud along with us. All right, just a little picture of some of the clothing that we offer. We keep that on hand for people to look at. Of course, picture of the building there and a little table if you need to take some notes or have a quick little meeting. And then, of course, you got your little Kawasaki here. That was all decked out with Kicker. That was Mia's too, if I remember right, wasn't it?
I think so, yeah.
Pulling her jet ski. And there's another picture of the rally car with our Harley-Davidson. The Harley-Davidson actually has our new cut-in 6x9 speakers. So that's something else that is a new product that we didn't really bring up the show because we actually brought it up earlier, like at the last one, but we now offer cut-ins for 6x9 speakers that cut right into your stock Harley bag lid, which will be exciting because some of these guys have got really nice paint jobs on their bag lids and they don't want to have to, repaint them by buying a whole new bag lid. So it's a great solution for that little dilemma. And then, of course, another picture of the other side of the Subaru, and got the little storage rack on top with all the goodies. That car really came out really neat. And of course, you can see in the back there, you can see the LX amplifiers. Tim did an amazing job tuning this thing. I mean, after the show 2 weeks ago, after we got done with Tim McCarthy, I went back before they loaded up, take it to SEMA. I sat back there for over an hour just listening to that car, and man, that thing sounds good. In fact, should have a picture of the inside of it coming up. These are in no particular order. But if you guys wonder, we take a pretty good representation of everything we offer. We don't bring everything we offer because if you guys have seen what it looks like in R&D, we have a lot of stuff. But of course, you see right in the front, you got the Marine dedicated display with the Marine amplifiers, the Marine speakers, and you've got the the Warhorse accessories and the Marine accessories. And of course, in the back, you've got the RTs. There's Mia's little Subaru with the 10-inch woofer on the back, a couple 6.5s underneath, and a couple of 8s on the side. And this is kind of interesting. I don't know where they came up with this idea, but I kind of like it. You know me, I like all things kind of new and cool. This looks like somebody else's amplifier. They actually mounted our Bluetooth receiver.
I saw that. I was wondering what they used.
I really don't know, but maybe it was a battery tender, a battery charger, but a nice little extruded aluminum housing. But hey, it's creative. Yeah. And of course, being anodized aluminum, it's not going to corrode in any weather. So just like I say, I love the cool little ideas people come up with and neat way they do things. Here's the reception area. We gave away lanyards. I think we gave away about...
Oh, dude, I don't even know how many. It is like...
20,000?
Yeah, there's like, what, 500 to a bag and 250 to something like that. We gave away...
Boxes and boxes and boxes. I mean, people know, if they've been coming to a SEMA for a while, to come over to our booth and get badges. And of course, in the background, you see some of our local electronics industry. I guess they're competitors. I mean, we're all in the same industry, but our friends over at Metro are going to talk with Colin, one of their head engineers for quite a while. Colin is absolutely right. He's been with them for about 30 years. Garmin was directly behind us, and we had Wet Sounds pretty close. Lakeswell was actually just kind of behind us and to the left. In fact, I just talked with Walt this afternoon. So a lot of good companies out there. In fact, you can kind of see the Lakeswell truck right back here in the very center. Of course, Cadence, Blaupunkt. I mean, everybody was there. Diamond Audio. Here's another view of our displays. Once again, we're showing the CS speakers on the top and the comp woofers. And, down here you got some of the original, not original, the second series of Solo X woofer down on the bottom. Not that they, are, being punished for being on the bottom shelf. They're just so darn heavy that we're hard on those shelves.
We're the ones being punished for them being on the bottom shelf.
I've said it before and I'll say it again. It's going to take a lot to convince me to mount one of these new ones because those things are huge and heavy. And there's a great view of our Harley Davidson on those cut-in bag lids, and they do have LEDs in the bag lids as well. And you can put KMXL speakers in those.
Yeah, I think what you need to do that is remove the LED.
Yep, you got to take the light bridge off. In fact, hopefully, these bag lids are going to start shipping if they haven't already. I think they're in the warehouse, but we've got a video that Peter and I put together to tell you and show you all the tools and all the steps to put these in. It's actually pretty simple. Another view of the booth here, and you can see the XS18 commanding, center stage over here. And of course the front counter again. Of course there is that subtle XS18, and I think it took two of them to put that thing up on the table there.
It did. It took two of us to get it down too.
Yeah, I can imagine. So I missed all the fun stuff when that was going on. So maybe that's one advantage of being ill.
I don't think you missed that.
I think I would have much rather have helped move that woofer and go through what I went through and all the stuff that went through me, literally. So this is one of our new Marine displays with our premium Marine series speakers. It's got the 210s. And one of the reasons I put this picture in here, this is actually back underneath that tunnel. And you talk about loud under there when you get this thing cranked up, but it sounds incredible. The woofers, the 10 and 12-inch woofers that you see, the 10-inch woofer with the 10-inch passive and the enclosure in the bottom, and we also sell the premium W woofers singly, as we're going to be offering very soon, a 2 ohm version. So up until this point, they were only available in a 4 ohm loaded enclosure and 4 ohm drivers. We had a need, and I think they kind of always had it in their idea that they were going to do it, but we'll be introducing a 2 ohm version of the 10 and 12s and that enclosure, and that should happen very shortly as well. Something else that's going to be new for this year, not the LX amplifiers on the top, but if you haven't seen them, they're new to you, I guess. But right below that, in that center section there, we've got the new RAM box for the 5th gen Rams with the dual 10s. And right below that, what have we got below that, Jacob?
That's going to be the new Toyota Tacoma subwoofer enclosure, which that fits anywhere from 2005 up through 2023 Tacomas. So a really wide range of years on that enclosure, and the new RAM enclosure fits everything that the other one doesn't.
Yeah, it's on the 1500 series, except for the 25 and 3500s. We haven't confirmed the test fit in the years on that one. I think there's something different about the floor on those. But yeah, those things are going to be extremely popular. And that Tundra box, I mean, that is only like 500 or 600 vehicles ever made. So, right? They didn't make very I think that's the #1 selling truck out there right now. But everybody that saw that box is like, this is going to be hot. And it's like, I hope you got enough, ability to make them. And we're going to make them as fast as we can, people. But as we know with the previous boxes, with the Ford, the Dodge, and the GM box, I mean, we actually had to add a second factory on because you guys did such a good job. They work so well. And I really like those mesh grills we put on those. All righty. Another view of the booth on the side there. So it really is a nice big booth, but there are times in our booth where if you need to get from one end to the other, you cannot walk through the booth. There are so many people that you literally have to go outside the booth and around.
Yeah, it was packed.
And as promised, here's the back of our little Subaru that Tim Fletch and Chase put together with the LX amplifiers, and those are Solo X8s, and they are sealed. That box is stack fab, and it is absolutely rock solid. Man, that car sounds good.
Yeah, it sounds very good.
Yeah, it's not designed to be an SPL vehicle. I mean, it's designed for sound quality. The imaging is spot on using those KS speakers up front. So it's got the KS 1-inch silk dome tweeters, then they've got the 2 3/4 in the dash, and then of course the 6 3/4 inch down on the bottom of the door. But man, that thing sounds good. Just a little bit of time alignment on the LX amplifiers, and away you go. And see our wonderful marketing partner. You see the XS Power Titan 8 batteries in the bottom to make sure that thing's got plenty of charge, and the Warhorse accessories on each side. So I've been watching those guys build that car for a long time, and the pictures don't do it justice. You really will need to see that car in person if you guys get a chance at one of the events we take it to. And of course, there's another picture of our ghosted kicker. I say ghosted because the little logo on the side of the truck is a little hard to see in this picture. You can see it's there a little bit, but at night, it reflects. It literally glows in the dark. So not very good if you're going to be speeding, but those guys would never do that, would they?
No, absolutely not.
Heck no, we never speed.
We don't speed.
So
cool.
More of the new products, which you'll see we'll talk about a little bit more in detail as we get going through here. But we've got the HS12 on the top. We've got the Jeep box in the bottom, loaded L7 enclosures, and of course, on the left side, you have the XS woofers, and we have the X woofers on the right. And I will tell you guys that someone has already asked, actually a couple of times, is the XS replacing the X? And the answer is, Jacob?
No, it's not. It's in addition to the X. So
Yep.
it's gonna stick around for a while. So is the X.
I really wish I would have thought to pull these pictures off my phone when we did the video for these a couple months ago. We got one of the original Solo X12s, and then we put it side by side with the X12, and the X12 made the original Solo X12 look like a regular woofer. I mean, it didn't look like there's anything special, and we all know how, big and bad those things were. And then we put the XS next to the X, and it was even as dramatic, if not more dramatic of a difference going up to the XS. So, of course, if you guys don't know, a little bit of details on the XS, you can replace the cone and voice coil assembly. The only difference is there's going to be more screws.
Yeah.
So 16 screws on the front and 12 on the back versus the 8 and 8 on the X. You did get your own individually monogrammed hat pins for these, the little alignment pins. You got the XS logo on them. So they are different because there's actually quite a bit of difference in the length of the voice coil.
Well, John, why don't, what do you think we go through all the new products for these guys
Yep.
that didn't make it to SEMA?
I think it's time to do that. So why don't you start in with the top of the list? I mean, it's a small item, but it's actually pretty important in my opinion.
Yeah, so the first thing that we're going to actually introduce or talk about right now is going to be some shorty RCA cables. So we've got 0.3 meter and 0.5 meter.
Hey, no short jokes.
Oh, yeah, that's right. So we've got 0.3 and 0.5
Inside
meter
joke.
RCAs coming out, and basically those are to if you guys are installing multiple mono amps and multiple 4-channel amplifiers, they allow you to daisy chain those, so you don't have a lot of extra RCA dangling or somewhere you have to tie up. The other nice thing is if you're using like one of our universal volume knobs, then you can run the RCAs from the back of the radio, and maybe you've got that knob mounted close to the radio. You don't want to have a ton of extra RCA to tuck in and hide away.
You wouldn't put that knob in the trunk?
No,
Okay.
I don't drive from the trunk.
Exactly.
But yeah, so those are a nice little addition, and it doesn't seem like much, but it is a really big quality of life addition to the line. So for those of you guys that are doing bigger builds, or you just want some short RCAs, then now we have something available for you.
Absolutely. Next thing we want to talk about is something that we've needed for a long time. If you pull up the laptop there, Ernie, this is our MSLC. And what does MSLC stand for?
I know the LC stands for lighting controller. The MS is what? Marine?
That's our premium
superior?
Marine. So,
yeah.
yep, Marine Series LED controller. And if you notice, if you guys have seen our past controller, all the electronics and everything were actually in line with the power wire and about a little half-inch square little chip that was in heat shrink. This is not a little heat shrink chip anymore. What really makes this LED controller exciting is the fact that it's got 300 watts of output.
Yeah, for just LEDs.
Yeah, I mean, that's almost the size of our subwoofer amplifier, but it's capable of driving 300 watts of output. It has 10-gauge power wire and 16-gauge LED wires coming out of it.
It's pretty sizable. It's maybe what, 2 inches tall and I don't know, 6-8 inches long. It's like a big amplifier chassis thing for LEDs. And the nice thing about it is that you will not hear any buzzing coming from the speakers or any mosquito noises.
And why is that?
Because the original lighting controller, the KMLC, used what we call pulse width modulation to adjust the colors of the lights.
And intensity.
And intensity. So what that meant was it basically things would be switching inside of that piece really fast, but they were switching at a frequency that was within the audible range of human hearing. And then that pitch would change depending on the color because all of it was under 20,000 hertz. Now with the new lighting controller, we still use pulse width modulation. However, the switching frequency is way higher than the human range of hearing.
Yeah, it's ultrasonic. It's above 30K.
Yeah, so
if you're a dog, you might hear it.
Your dog might hear it, but you would never hear any noise coming from this lighting controller, and that's one of the things that makes it very special. And what is that little round deal on the front of that piece, John, that we were looking at there?
So, and in fact, I should have put a picture of the back side of it. There's actually a microphone built into this little amplifier and receiver. So it does do sound-activated lights, and there's a little adjustment screw so you can adjust the sensitivity of the microphone. And you see the little controller there, which actually mounts through a 1-inch hole. I mean, it's got about 2 inches of thread on it. So you should be able to mount that in just about anything. About a 20-foot cable between those two pieces. But the little dial on the front of that piece, it's got a little like bar graph that shows you the color, and it actually mimics what the LEDs are doing. It'll mimic the color, the patterns, the intensity, and you can actually set the intensity 4 different levels and off. So I guess you would call that 5. But you've got several different modes, and of course, I think there's 20 plus different colors you can actually get out of this piece.
Yeah, a wide range of colors. I mean, it's going to be an awesome line addition to our Marine line. I mean, considering all of our premium Marine speakers are RGBW, we've needed an RGBW controller for them for a little while now. Speaking of premium marine, you did mention that we have the new 2-ohm versions of the MS or MW subwoofers available, or they will be available, I guess.
Well, in fact, if you guys are not looking on a phone and a computer, I don't know if you can zoom in or not, but if you look in the back of the room, that display back there, right under the radio, see if I can get my finger right about there. It's amazing. I actually got to that point. That's where that LED controller is, and of course, it's so far back there you can't see the fact that it does match the color of the LEDs on the speakers, but it's going to be a neat little piece. I mean, it's not, the cheapest piece. It's going to be definitely more than $100, but I mean, if you want good noise-free LED control, that's definitely the piece to do it with.
What do we have next? The downfiring L7T 10-inch and 12-inch enclosures. So these are a pretty straightforward thing. If you guys have seen or heard any of the passive L7T downfiring subwoofer enclosures,
I have.
I have too. Right. We're biased, but I think they sound pretty good. This is essentially the same enclosure with a built-in amplifier to the side of the box. So we had a ton of success with our downfiring PTRTP, the powered Comp RT downfiring enclosure, and this is kind of in the same vein of those products. That amplifier is essentially going to be perfectly matched to the subwoofer that's inside the enclosure, so you're going to be getting plenty of power out of those subwoofers. And the nice thing about it is that it does have quick disconnect everything plugs on it. So power, ground, remote, signal wire, even the bass knob, all that stuff you can just unplug. So if you need that last extra bit of space in your trunk, you can just unplug it and away you go, and hook it back up when you want your bass again.
Yeah, these will be available in 10 and a 12-inch, 500 watts on the 10 and 600 watts on the 12. So that little amplifier has done a really good job. And the difference between this enclosure and the non-loaded enclosures, the box is actually a little bit bigger to make up for the airspace that the amplifier takes up. I mean, they could have stuffed that amplifier in the same box and just kind of choked the woofer a little bit, but we chose to take the more correct route and the more acceptable route and make the box the correct volume with the amplifier. But those things sound really good. And I know for a long time we didn't have a powered subwoofer above the HS8.
Yeah.
And in the past we'd actually offered a 12-inch vented woofer, and I forgot the model number of that, and a 10-inch sealed, which had
the PT250 and the PES10, I think?
PES10 was the Solo Classic 10.
Okay.
That was the other one that was great. I had one of those in my Suburban. That actually had a vinyl-wrapped enclosure with carpet on the ends. It looked beautiful. It was really nice. The other one was a Comp VR12, and those things were killer. That just, I don't know if it wasn't the right time or what, but we've definitely found out with all of our other enclosures that you guys like those loaded enclosures with the amplifiers built in, because it's so much easier.
These days, simpler and quicker is easier and better for shops.
More gooder.
It's more gooder. So, the more
quote me on that.
Yeah, the more time you can save on the install, and the simpler you can make things for people, you're going to sell more and more product. And the longer I stay here, the more I'm discovering that. So, speaking of awesome powered subwoofer enclosures, what's this thing that we got here, John?
That is going to be the HS12 we've been talking about. Now, if you guys are familiar with the HS8, that was our 150-watt powered 8-inch woofer in the cast aluminum enclosure. You guys wanted more, so we made a 10-inch version. This is now the 12-inch version. That is an actual 12-inch woofer in a cast aluminum enclosure with a metal grill. It's got a 230-watt amp built in, with a variable crossover. It uses the exact same wiring harness, same accessories as the HS8 and the HS10. So if you have an HS8 or an HS10 and you want to see how much better this thing sounds, just go to your local authorized dealer and see if they'll let you plug one in real quick, because it obviously is no issue at all. I honestly never thought we would have a 12-inch subwoofer that would fit under the seat.
I didn't either.
I didn't think we'd break 165 dB either in SPL. Then we're up to, what, 186.6, I think, is the record?
Some insane. I don't even know what the number is.
I don't know how that's physically possible. But we've both heard this in Kyle. He's got a little Ranger pickup, little extended cab Ranger pickup. He's the guy that designed the Solo X and Solo XS. He has one of these in his truck, one of the prototypes, and it is astounding.
Yeah, it's actually quite the difference. So I mean, and it is kind of like what you would expect going from a 10 to a 12, but I didn't expect that big of a difference. It was, so what you notice going from the 8 to the 10 is a little bit more low-end bass and overall output. And then even going from the 10 to the 12, there's even more low-end bass and even more output, which is astounding. They've managed to do get as much as they can out of such a small footprint and such little power. I mean, it really is just an impressive piece.
It's that bridge between, you know, the big enclosure in the back and a separate amplifier into this all-in-one piece. And, you know, we listened to you. You said you wanted bigger than an 8. We made an 8. And you said you wanted bigger than that. We made a 10. Well, now we've made a 12. Don't ask for a 15.
HS15 and
or an 18, or, you know. We could do it, but I think we're going to be at the limits of the vehicles because cars are not very big anymore. They seem to be not like your old 70 Buick Electra that I used to drive.
That would definitely not fit between the seat rails.
I think you could probably fit 5 of those under the seat of that Buick, like edge to edge all the way across.
Oh, you're talking the bench seat, yeah.
That would be awesome. We need to try that. I need to go find one of those Buicks, those old cars with those big old couch-sized bench seats that had so much room underneath. But you guys will love these things when they come out. And I just, here again, until you actually hear it, you guys can knock it all you want, and, you know, people always do before they hear stuff. We talk about how bad it sounds. It's like, dude, unless you've been in our listening lab, you can't accurately make that statement.
Yeah.
There have been people making comments already about the XS woofers, you know, that they don't sound good. It's like, you guys know us better than that. We're not going to make something that doesn't sound good.
All right, dude. Let me tell you guys something. When we heard the XS in the listening lab, now I know some of you guys that have watched before know this, and I know John knows this, but I'm starting to run around in SQ competitions. And when I heard the XS in the listening lab, it blew my mind. Like, now I'm absolutely itching to find a way to get the 18s in my truck one way or another, whether it's, you know, removing my back seat and cutting holes in the floor for infinite baffle, or cutting a hole in my bed for, you know, something. I've got to figure out a way to get those.
We have saws, Jacob. We can do it.
Yeah, it's possible. But, yeah, they sound amazing. I mean, well, it's kind of, I mean, I know that we're capable of doing it. I know our engineers are capable of doing it, but to actually hear it in person is something else completely.
Well, that's one of the things that, you know, makes Kicker is that we don't build a sub just to move air. I mean, that's not the point. I mean, we could just, you know, hey, all we want to do is a speaker that travels as far as possible and, you know, handles as much power, but you'd be sacrificing a lot of integrity of the company. And you're right. The first couple cars I did the XS or the X12s in sealed, put those 2 1/4 cubic foot, just picked a number out of the air. It's like, yeah, that looks like it needs 2 1/4 cubic foot each. I did that in Dana's car, which is our rep in Sacramento. We also did it in Sean Murder-Novas. We did it in his 81 Caprice wagon. That's one of those cars that got those couch-sized front bench seats. But
I don't think he would be too happy if we took the X's out and then put.
No, we'd do that in addition to. Yeah, he's all about more. But they really, really sound good. And that little Subaru, I'm telling you guys, if you ever get a chance to come to an event or we've got that car, or you can come here and take a tour, it is really impressive how good, tight, and clean those speakers sound. In fact, Brian, who's on the feed tonight, Brian's little 2019 Mustang GT convertible with 4 of the Solo X8s in that car, that thing sounds incredible. And then when I tell you it's infinite baffle, infinite baffle 8s in a convertible, and holy crap, that car sounds good. And Brian could beat SQ.
Yeah, he does.
So, power to you, Brian.
So what do we got? We got the factory fit, or what do you want to?
I got a picture pulled up here. If Ernie pulls up the laptop, we've got a much more visible picture of the Ram box, that 5th gen Ram box. Do you remember, and I know it's a number that's been thrown around, and I don't because I can't remember numbers, there's so many of them anymore, how many pieces it takes to make that enclosure?
John, I can't even remember my own birthday. I think it's probably, I
don't want to remember my own birthday.
I want to say
132
it was over 100 pieces. I know that.
To make that enclosure. And if you're a box builder, I know you guys can do it. I mean, it's not rocket science. It's building a box out of wood and carpet. And but all the pieces and all the detail, I mean, you can't touch that for no more than that box costs over the price of just the woofers. And it'll fit all those 5th gen. And if you notice the funky little cutouts that are on the sides here, people say, why do you have that? Because those trucks have storage in the floor.
That's right.
Of course, both the Journeys I had storage in the floor. My Ram has storage in the floor, my 14. So you can still access all the storage. So we didn't get greedy, taking up, all the space. They got the right airspace they need, but you still have full accessibility to the truck. And we'll show you once again the other side, which is going to be the bottom of the box. I mean, the entire enclosure is very nicely finished with those nice metal badges on both sides.
It looks like it belongs in the car. Which it kind of does.
Yes, it does. So that being said, while I got the laptop pulled up here, we'll just jump to the Tacoma box. Yeah. Same thing. I watched, Aaron and back prototyping this, and we were back there trying to figure out what we could and couldn't do and what models it was going to fit. You do have to take the plastic panel off the back wall. So that just basically unsnaps, I think. I don't think there were any screws that even held that thing in. But once you drop this in and put the seats back in place, you can't tell that panel is removed. So it doesn't leave any bare metal, hanging out or any rough edges on carpet. And the back side of this thing, if you notice, there's been a lot of engineering that went into this. You see the cutouts for all the hardware and everything that's on the back of that. So you do not have to modify the vehicle. I know some of our competitors out there, they tell you have to cut off some of those brackets. And I don't know about you, but if you've ever had to cut through, a piece of 1/4-inch steel that's a seatbelt tie down for something with a hacksaw, that's not a lot of fun.
No, that kind of sucks.
And you don't want to burn the thing down with a torch either, a plasma or a grinder.
No.
Just a lot of mess. So we try to make these things, so they're as easy as possible to put them in and go.
So I don't know if we actually said it yet, but both of those enclosures use two 10-inch L7T subwoofers wired to a 2-ohm load for 1,000 watts RMS power handling. So they sound great. They'd pair awesome with the CXA 1200 or an LX 1250. And you guys will have plenty of bass in your vehicle after
And those are really cheap versions of the woofers we sell every day, right?
No, they're production woofers. And so if you were to blow one, then the nice thing for those dealers that are watching out there, if one of those subwoofers blows, then you can swap it out with the production subwoofer and then get in touch with your distributor or with us, and we'll get you taken care of.
Yeah, and don't ship those enclosures back.
Yeah, please don't.
Contact us if you ever have a warranty. Contact us first, because we don't want you shipping that enclosure back, because it's going to get damaged and cost you a lot of money. We'd rather just take care of it by swapping the woofers around. Be a lot more convenient. And Ernie, if you pull the laptop back up, I told you guys I had a better picture of that OEM enclosure. That is a really nice looking enclosure.
Yeah, it's so those guys in the back, Peter, Cronin, and Jimmo, I'm sure helped. They basically will design these with a mold to fit the truck. And then once they have the mold looking how they like it and fitting how they want it, then they use a vac form to model that enclosure. And it's gone through a couple different variations, but that's what our guys settled on, and I think it looks pretty good. It looks like it belongs in the bed of that truck. Again, it uses a 8-inch driver and an 8-inch passive radiator, and that thing operates off of just 100 watts RMS.
It's pretty impressive.
It adds an impressive amount of bass to that tailgate audio system.
And once they get the prototype, finalized with the vacuum form version, we actually then have the tool made for injection molding, which is what gives that little enclosure its absolutely gorgeous, fine-tooled appearance. So just thought I better show that to you guys. Since this will not be available through your local Kicker authorized retailers. Unfortunately, I know guys are probably throwing stuff at their screens right now. You will be able to get it through the GM parts department. So.
Awesome.
Yep. So just so you guys know, that is not going to be something you're going to be able to order online through us. That is basically, we've got an exclusive contract with GM. That's the way they like to do things. So
yeah.
It's the way they always have done things, like that tailgate system. If you want one, you need to go through the parts department or the GM, parts catalog to get one of those. But if you do decide you want one and go and buy one, it's literally that whole tailgate system plugs in with the trailer brake. Mm-hmm. Or the trailer light harness.
Yep.
So
just a T-harness that goes in, and you don't have to make any modifications to the vehicle aside from running your wire, and I think
it.
you push out one of the plugs on the bedside so that you can drop your wire harness for the subs, but otherwise that's about it. Next up in the factory fit enclosures, we've got the new Jeep subwoofer enclosure that is it's a really nice rotomolded enclosure, and it utilizes a single 12-inch L7T driver for 600 watts RMS power handling.
And I have failed you, Jacob. I forgot to get a picture of that one.
Oh, okay. Dang it. Well, we'll show you guys pictures eventually.
You know, we may be able to do this yet. I've got an idea.
But while John's doing that, I'll continue telling you guys about it. The enclosure is roto-molded, but it's got a really nice texture on the outside that looks almost like the factory Jeep texture. We literally took a piece of the Jeep interior for JKs and JLs, sent it off to the factory, and asked them to match it as close as possible.
JKs and garments?
JKs and garments.
You said J. Sorry, bad joke.
Nah, I get it now. But anyway, it matches the interior texture really nice, but it most closely matches the interior of the JL. It even has some little bar lines on it, and like the lines of the enclosure match really closely to the interior lines of the Jeep. There you guys go, you can see it. So those two stripes in the middle, that is present on one of the side panels in the trunk of the Jeep, JLs. The lines match really closely, and once it's mounted in the tailgate or on the tailgate, it looks just like it belongs in that Jeep. And the nice thing about the JLs is that it utilizes existing mounting points.
Correct.
All you have to do is drill holes in the little plastic panel that covers up the tailgate, and then this thing will bolt right in once you put the spacers and everything in place. With the JKs, we have a full-size template included in the box that lines up using the little dash holes on the tailgate. Tells you exactly where to drill. We also include nut certs and all the hardware you need to get that to mount to the tailgate of the JKs. And if you have a JK, you know you have that little plastic trim piece that covers up the wiring for the tailgate. You can leave that on when you mount this to the tailgate, so it looks just about factory when you put it on there.
And it's surprisingly light and strong.
Yeah, it is. It's a very sturdy enclosure. That rotomolding process is the same one we use for the Marine premium subwoofer enclosure, so it's a really sturdy box.
Yeah, and we've got videos that people are like, oh, how strong is a plastic enclosure? We parked a truck on one.
Yeah.
Actually, we parked it on it several times. That was a lot of fun. We love to test our products. In fact, I was talking about that with the engineers and said, hey, I want to take one of those enclosures and I want to put a truck on it. And they're like, what? And you see these, it's like prairie dogging, and people pop their heads up in the cubicles. The engineer's like, what did you say? What do you So we went back there, had about 7 of the engineers back there. And first thing we did is we jacked up one of our Chevy trucks and we set the back wheel on the enclosure, and like, well, no issues there whatsoever. Thought, well, that's the back of the truck. The engine's in the front. Let's try the engine. So we jacked up the front of the truck and set the front wheel on it, which, what is that, 2,000 pounds roughly by the time you get the weight of the engine on top of it? I don't know, but it was a lot of weight. No issues there. So well, what if we drive it up on top? So we made a little ramp, so it wasn't quite a cushion blow. And if you see the video, not even thinking about it, of course, your front brakes do most of the work. So as I got on top, I stepped on the brake, and we actually kind of drove for a ways on the enclosure. And really the only thing we did was scar up the back of the enclosure on the concrete. Didn't really think that one through, but it was kind of fun. But that video is online on our YouTube channel somewhere. I haven't seen it for a while.
I love the faces the engineers make when they say, you're going to do what to our product? Yeah, anyway.
We're going to do some really, really terrible things to it, so.
So I think we've got one more thing we need to talk about with you guys, and I think
we're done.
You're right. We're not going to address the elephant in the room. Have a good night, guys. See you later.
Not going to talk about anything. I'm sure a lot of you guys are tuning in and hearing about the wonderful Solo XS woofer, and once again, this is in addition. You guys asked for it, and we kind of went. In fact, what's really interesting. The development of this speaker actually started before the X.
Yeah, so some of the
5 or 6 years ago.
Yeah, some of the things that we learned from this, we applied to the X and vice versa.
Yeah, and as we progressed with the X, we found some things that we actually changed on this woofer. We're not going to get into a lot of detail on this woofer. If you want to see something really cool, you guys need to tune in 2 weeks, because we're going to have Kyle. I don't know if we get his little Ranger in here with his HS12.
I would like to see that.
But yeah, we're going to have Kyle on here, who is one of the head engineers for this project. He's the head of the acoustic side of the speakers, and we'll have him as a guest on the show. But just real briefly to tell you guys about the woofers, they're going to be available at 12, 15, and an 18 only. The 12 and 15 handle 3,000 watts RMS, and just like with the X, when he told you it handled 2,000 watts, I mean, that's a little bit of an understatement, and same thing with that one. The 18 is a totally different animal. It's got a 4-inch diameter voice coil. It weighs 130.8 pounds. So like I said, I don't really ever, I want to see them and hear them mounted. I just don't want to be the one doing it.
Yeah, somebody else can figure that out logistically. I don't want to subject myself to that. I don't want to subject other people. It's going to be awesome when people do use them. But Andy, I'm looking at you and your SWAT truck. You're going to have a heck of a time getting those guys in there.
But, you know, he's going to do it. I mean,
yeah, he is.
With all the things that they do, that thing is, that's crazy. But, the only other thing we do need to mention, which I'm sure everyone's going to be asking or wondering right now, I haven't really been paying attention to the questions, these products will be available first quarter of next year.
Yeah.
And when we say first quarter, you're like, next year? Well, that's like
90 days.
Yeah, not that far away. So they're going to kind of come, throughout, January, February, March. But I was told today that we will have these available first quarter. I do know that, unlike when we introduced the X woofer, it wasn't quite finished yet, and we were kind of teasing everybody with it. These are done.
Yep.
They are actually just waiting for production right now. So as soon as they can make them and get them shipped over here, they will be available to get in your hot, eager little hands. And there'll be some hernias, I'm sure.
We are not responsible for your hernias.
Lots of people taking a lot of ibuprofen.
Yeah.
And pricing is something we're not going to release until they're just about ready to ship. So that's the other thing that, we're unfortunately not giving you information on pricing. They will be more expensive than the X. That much we do know for sure. But how much? We don't actually know. We haven't seen it, but it all has been finalized. So we can't give you an exact shipping, just first quarter next year, and pricing. We don't know the actual pricing. And there was something else. Oh, the teal smalls. Everybody wants the teal small parameters on these as soon as possible. And one of the reasons why we don't do that is we don't just make up the teal smalls off, one speaker that, was a prototype and ship them out. We actually wait till the units come to us from the production run, and I think they'll grab
it's a production
20,
average.
Yeah,
I don't know.
20 speakers, I think, and they'll measure the teal smalls, and they'll average all those, which are all really close anyway.
Yeah.
But, I mean, just to keep it, a little more accurate, they do an average of them. So, and we'll get you those numbers absolutely as soon as they're available, but we do know the power handling numbers. And I think it's funny talking with, Jeff and Laura that do our QA testing and acoustic testing on the speakers. Jeff does not like to power test these speakers. Not only moving them, but he gets angry. I mean, when he has to shut them off, he literally will shut these speakers off and leave them sit for a day.
Just to cool off.
Yeah, because they get so hot. In fact, that 18, some of the things it did to things around it, it got so hot, but it took every bit of it.
Yeah. A couple things about these drivers. We use a proprietary surround material. It's NBR. And other things, you guys, I know I saw somebody asking in the chat, itching to know, you can interchange the voice coil impedances on these drivers.
On the XS only.
On the XS only. So if you start out with a 1, you can switch to a 2 and vice versa. One of the reasons why we didn't do that on the X, 1, because 2 different engineers designed these 2 subwoofers. 2, we were chasing efficiency numbers on the X as much as possible, and if we could eke out just that much more efficiency with a specialized gap, we were going to do it. On the XS, I think we're at the level where the amount of efficiency we would gain by doing that isn't really worth it to have two different.
That they actually worked very hard on the voice coils to make sure that they were as close to the same thickness as possible between the 1 ohm and the 2 ohm versions.
Yep, and the other reason is you guys have been asking to be able to interchange voice coil impedances, so now on this one you can. So there you have it. Yeah.
So, but 2 weeks we'll have a lot more information, and we'll have the engineer, Kyle Ambrose, the guy that started all this. We haven't really talked a whole lot about this, and I was going to bring this up on the show last week, but we didn't have time. We talked about, sometimes when we revise a woofer and we keep the same name. And that little CVT woofer, we first introduced the CVT back in 98 or 99. We started using that with Chrysler when I was doing OEM back in 99. That woofer went from 175 watts power handling to 375. It's a totally different woofer. And I had the honor and pleasure of putting one of the 10-inch in one of my buddy's 75 Broncos. Yep, that's the OJ style Bronco. Did a 10-inch with a KPX 501 on it. That thing was unbelievably impressive for that single 10 with that amplifier. Of course, that amplifier is rated 125 more than the speaker is, but it sounded killer. So, even though we say it's a CVT woofer, that's basically the product line. It's completely new and improved. You look at them side by side, there is absolutely no similarity in the parts whatsoever, and performance is equally as impressive. So we're constantly striving to make all the products even better as we go.
About the only thing similar between them is the appearance. So, well,
they still look like round woofers.
Yeah. So, John, what do you think? We got technical Q&A next. We have some tech questions that we want to answer for the guys.
Oh!
Chat questions.
JW says we got questions coming up. He's going to start posting up here, and we'll answer what we can. That's all I can promise, guys.
John, you want to start, and then we'll take turns?
Andy, Overkill Customs, Tennessee. Does the light controller operate with Bluetooth too? No, unfortunately, Andy, it does not. It is all in the control piece. We did that to keep it basically more reliable and more dependable. Yeah. And Bluetooth makes noise too.
It does.
So it pretty much is all the mechanical controls on the piece, and by doing that we can also keep it weather resistant. So the front of it is IP5, I think it is, which basically is like IP67. It can get sprayed and splashed, and that's the control piece on the front. And it does use that Deutsch connector on the back, which is a waterproof connector to make sure that it's solid. But unfortunately, no Bluetooth.
I think this is Peter, right? Does it use the
that is
same
Peter.
remote to control the colors? Yeah, Peter, all of your functions are used with that one dial, that one knob. So colors, modes, all of that is changeable.
If we could roll that display up here, we could give you a full But yeah, literally, you turn the knob without even pushing the button, and it goes through all the different colors, and you push the button depending on, 1 time, 2 times fast, or hold it, goes into the different modes. And the LEDs on, like when you go into the mode changing, when you hold it in for about 3 seconds, you'll see the LEDs flash blue twice to tell you it's in that mode, and after 15 seconds or after you hold it down again, they'll flash 5 times to let you know that it's out of that mode and back into normal mode. So it does tell you what mode it's in, but no Bluetooth, and yes, everything's done by that little inline controller, which looks like a base level control, but it's an LED level control. It's great. Next question. Jason WW2000 says, is that 12-inch Hideaway a sealed box? Yes, it is a sealed box. All the Hideaways are sealed. And how low does it play? It's going to play every bit down to 25 or 30 hertz. It's not going to rattle the windows out of the vehicle, but in a vehicle, that with the cabin pressure, it's very impressive. I don't think you're going to be disappointed at all with one of these, unless you're a basshead. If you're a basshead, it's not the product for you.
Yeah.
That's this product.
Yeah, if you're my girlfriend or my mom, you're gonna love how much bass this thing produces. If you're John or I and you're used to having, 3 12s or something in your car, it's obviously not gonna live up to that. But
it's still very impressive. Those of us that do like a lot of bass, we were still impressed by it.
Yeah. Is that Shannon? What is the ohm load of the Ram box? It's going to be 2 ohms on the Ram and the Tacoma box. So it's already set up, ready to go for whatever amplifier you guys want to hook up to it.
Yeah, almost all of our loaded enclosures, especially the duals, are all 2 ohms. Some of the single enclosures are available in a 4 ohm version, so you can buy one and then buy another one later and add to it. But the dual enclosures are almost all dual, well, they're dual 2 ohm drivers in the box, series parallel combination for a net load of 2 ohms. So, great question. What size is the coil? The 12 and the 15? It's going to be roughly the same size as the S. So that's a 3-inch voice coil, if I remember right?
Yes, it's a 3-inch on the 12 and 15.
I never actually measured it. So.
And a 4 on the 18.
I do know for a fact, just for fun, I did take a XS cone replacement, and it did set in the X woofer. Obviously, the voice coil is much longer, and the screw holes are completely different, and it wouldn't work at all, but it was kind of interesting that it did set in the basket, just for fun. Yeah, it will not mechanically or electrically or acoustically work at all, but I just thought, hey, would this work? And set it in there, and like, well, I actually dropped in there, but that's about all you can say about it. So, great. Bobby Burkett, John, don't forget to mention about the single version of the KS27. Thank you, Bobby. That's why we got such nice listeners.
Yeah.
The KSC 275, for those of you guys that are having vehicles with center channels, that is now offered as a single driver with all the adapter brackets included, so it's one speaker in a box. So thank you, Bobby, for bringing that up. Sometimes we get so excited with the big boys on the market, we forget about the simple little details, and that's why I put those RCA cables right at the front. It's like, this is such a minor little thing, but it's actually fairly important to some people, and I know it's important to me, because I'm the guy that, I want as clean as wiring as possible, but in reality, I don't want any wires, but that's not reality. It can't happen that way. Some of the systems, you work on, I remember when we did the original Warhorse fan, building that battery box down the center, thought, I got plenty of room. I had a channel that was about 6 inches wide, about 46 inches long, and about 8 inches deep, and I thought, that's so much extra room for wiring. By the time you put 4 or 5, I can't remember how many was of those triple, A&L fuse holders in there, and 1/0 wire running in and out each end of those, 3 runs each. We barely got it all stuffed in there. So, yes, having shorter cables is great, less chance of noise, and less to bundle up and try to hide or tuck under carpet. So, but yeah, thank you, Bobby, for bringing that up. So that is actually very important. So the KSC 275 is available as a pair or a single now. So, great question. Anybody else before we move along?
I think we got tech questions now.
I think let's go ahead and do that. So we're kind of rolling here. It's only 8:30. I apparently hadn't talked as much as I normally do. So first question says, my system sounds great, but every so often when a bass note hits hard, I lose sound for a few seconds, then the amplifier comes back on. Is that a problem with my amplifier? There really isn't a good answer for this question, is there, Jacob?
No, not without doing some testing with the meter. It could be too small power wire. Could be
dropping low on voltage and shutting the amplifier from low voltage.
Could be a bad ground causing that
Could
issue.
be a bad ground. Could be a bad connection on the power wire. We've seen those, and we know what happens when that. The amplifier could be wired wrong too.
Yeah.
It could be at too low of impedance. Just so you guys know, and I'm sure most of the people in the group out there know, but in case you don't, in case you're newer to audio, when an amplifier says it's stable to 2 ohms, that doesn't mean it's going to shut off or not turn on if you've got under a 2 ohm load. An amplifier has a certain amount of power, and as you put a lower load on it, it can get to that power much quicker, so it will shut off to protect itself. So they're usually current limited, not impedance limited. So they'll play into almost a dead short until it gets to that maximum output, and then they're going to shut off and go into protection. So you're going to need to know when that amplifier shuts off, did the protection light come on? Depending on the amplifier, some of our amplifiers, the protection light will flash if it's low voltage. And if it goes off completely, the amplifier shut down from low voltage. So no definite answer on that one, just a couple of good things to check. Once again, support@kicker.com if you guys got any of these type of questions and we don't answer them for you. Or just call the guys. We got 4 guys up there on the phones that are really good at diagnosing problems over the phone, which is really difficult to do if you're not in front of the vehicle. Next question is, what is the difference in foam, cloth, or rubber surrounds on speakers? Jacob, would you like to take that away?
Yeah, I think the biggest difference is going to be efficiency, mainly. It depends on the overall design of the speaker, of course, but like, for example, for the STs, we wanted really high efficiency on these, so we chose a lightweight cloth surround there's really not a whole lot to that surround. But when we're talking about bigger subwoofers with higher power handling, we opted for like a Santoprene or NBR on these guys, or on CS we opted for foam. So they all have different efficiency levels that we're hunting for. You might see foam on some high efficiency subwoofer drivers and stuff like that. I mean, or
depends on the acoustic engineer.
The
goals they're trying to get.
Ultimately, it really just depends on the engineer and what you're trying to get. But I will say, as a general kind of rule of thumb that I think in my head, maybe it's not a general rule of thumb, but I see cloth and foam on a lot of high efficiency products.
Yeah, so. It's fairly light. In fact, with a lot of the drivers, when we actually prototype our surrounds and everything right here with our CNC, we'll make the molds and pull them on our vac former. But the durometer of the surround material, the Santoprene or the NBR, makes a big difference. It actually affects the resonance of the speaker. So you can tune a speaker just by changing the thickness and the density of the surround. So I know they spent a lot of time on the surround on this speaker, and we're not going to go into a lot of details on it. It's tough not to just break off and tell you everything about it, but it's actually variable thickness. It's not the same thickness all the way across, so it's injection molded. It's pretty cool. So let's go to the last question before we tell everything and give away all the next show away. So, well, of course, we can't give Kyle away, but if you guys have really specific questions, he'll be able to answer those, being the acoustic.
And then Kyle can give away what Kyle wants to give away on the show. And it's not us giving it away.
Exactly. I have a woofer in a sealed box. It sounds great, but I want more volume out of it. Can I port the enclosure to give it more output, Jacob?
Yep, just take a 2-inch hole saw and cut a hole in the box.
Yep, and you're done. Good to go, right?
No, you really can't do that unless you... It depends on the box, but maybe if you have like a truck box or something that's really long, you may be able to drill, I don't know, like a 3-inch hole in the side and then use a curved, like a PVC with a curved opening on it. You might be able to slide that in there and get a round port in the box, but it just depends on your box. A lot of times...
Especially depends on how much volume you have in the box and what the speaker requires.
Yeah, most of the time, ported boxes are going to be designed with a particular airspace in mind, and sometimes you even have to, like, wrap the port around the box to get the port length that you want. So
and then you have to add more airspace to the box. It doesn't generally, I mean, it might possibly work, but the odds are just porting the box you have is not the answer. If you want more output, if you're not at the power handling limit of the speaker, bigger amplifier will give you more output, or add another one. And another amplifier.
Yeah.
And another battery. And another, never mind.
And then add another sub box with
and then they just pull it all out and put a Solo X in there.
Yeah.
And call it good. But yeah, those Solo X really sound good sealed. It is amazing. All right, some fail pictures. Let's have some fun, guys. And once again, if these are any of your pictures or installs, this is all, we're having fun with it, but it is all for learning. I mean, I've made mistakes all through my life, and in fact, I'm sure there's some photo or video or audio record of my mistakes. In fact, I know there is for a fact. But
I've got some pictures of some of mine too, and I know a couple of them are still floating around out there on the road. So you gotta learn.
You gotta learn. Like I say, if you don't know and try something, I applaud people that try something to learn. Try experimenting. In fact, I'm doing that with Adobe Premiere, learning to do videos. Yeah. I'm just trying stuff to see what it does, and if I screw it up, I screw it up, but I'm going to learn by it. So, first fail picture. I see a couple different problems with this picture, don't you, Jacob?
Yeah, it looks like Charlie Sheen got to the battery terminal.
Yeah, it definitely could use some Coke, right, to clean it off.
Yeah, that's what you could.
Yeah, that's
clean it
the
off.
Charlie Sheen. That's one of the good cleaners for battery terminals is Coke, the acid in it. But that's not Coke. That's Crystal. That's got to be meth. Never mind. So what's your method for cleaning your battery? No, bad joke. Anyway. So the fuse holder has obviously seen better days as well. You can tell by the charred end of the power wire.
I never did like that style of fuse holder.
Yeah, me either. And it's probably one of those AGU, glass tube fuses. Yeah, those were the worst.
Those are awful.
But that is caused from a poor connection. So if you now and then tighten your connections, go around and check them because, they can work their way loose. In fact, I've noticed that even at our house, we had a fuse box, like the big fuse panel, the screws would start to back out from the 60 hertz AC.
Oh, wow.
Over time. That's not uncommon that those screws do back themselves out with AC. But Yep, and check your connection. So definitely a fail on that one. How about foil for a fuse?
It depends how much tinfoil they've got wrapped up in
So
there.
what is the amperage rating on that value of foil you have there? And you can definitely tell there's been a problem because look at the left side of that fuse holder.
Is that now the question is, was that before or after they put the tinfoil in there?
You know, at this point, it doesn't matter. It's still wrong. Don't do it. All right, next fail. How about a 5-cent fuse?
Penny for your thoughts?
And we were talking about this earlier, looking at these pictures. There is a picture online, and we've actually used this in the fails as somebody that put a .22 rifle long bullet in place of a fuse holder. So yeah, let's put something in line that gets current driven through it with sparks to, you know, like gunpowder, and yeah. So don't do that kind of stuff, guys. We know better than that. Now, this is not actually a bad-looking install.
It's not necessarily a fail, I guess.
No, and you know, if you got small kids or kids with short legs, it's great. But it's subwoofer enclosure with the floor mats on top of the sub enclosure. But hey, this car's still got more room in the back seat than a 911.
You can still lay down back there, maybe.
Yeah. So it's not a total fail, and it probably sounds pretty darn good. And I respect people that do what they have to do to get the sound they want. And what you probably haven't noticed is that really nice little pot on the door for the 6x9 on that back door.
I did not notice that.
So someone's obviously spent a little work on this vehicle. So this is not a 100% fail, but just one of those things like, make sure the car's still practical. If you never use the back seat, this is great. Another problem with battery terminals coming loose. So
wood screws.
Those are deck screws even.
Yeah, that's one way to do it. I like to bring this story up, but one time my dad used a hose clamp instead of a battery terminal. It's still there on his tractor.
I've got pictures where people have used hose clamps to actually join one wire together. I mean, it's better than tape, I guess.
I guess it's more permanent technically.
So, and I absolutely love this picture. First of all, you have a grommet right there. Why didn't you just cut through the grommet? Was it too difficult?
Because this was easier.
Yeah, and notice how tight that wire is. I mean, is that a tightrope? Did we get the wire stretcher out?
Yeah, guys, here's a trick for you. If you ever run the wire through the car and it's slightly too short, cut it and install your fuse and make the other side of the fused wire a little bit longer to compensate. You're not stuck with wire that tight in a vehicle ever. There's ways you can get around it.
And I'm going to bet probably just about anything that screw is not a metric machine thread screw.
It is now.
Well, the amplifier is, at least.
Yeah.
The screw might not be, but it's not that difficult. I mean, they got all those parts bin at Home Depot and Lowe's and Fastenal to get the right parts. So,
guys, if you ever have a kicker amplifier where you're missing a set screw, give us a call.
Know.
We can mail you the set screw free of charge in an envelope. That way you guys don't have to use a deck screw to get your speaker wire into your amplifier.
I haven't noticed Travis. I haven't seen him online up there. This is from Monday at SEMA, right before all the food poisoning and all that fun stuff happened. This is Travis, and Travis bought our Econoline pickup, and he's the one that owns the Chevy truck that is now in the museum that we built actually back in '99. This is his latest project. I absolutely love the wheels. That is the first set ever that's actually a set of prototype wheels, but what a badass looking truck.
Yeah, it looks great.
This thing was incredible. In fact, inside, and I apologize, I took this really quickly with my phone. I didn't realize it didn't focus well. The piece you see with all the dust on it right there, this was before we had the truck all cleaned up. They were just parking it. That is actually made by Scosche. And it controls everything from starting the vehicle to the lighting system. It's got an LCD screen that you can program. It's a pretty cool little piece. Basically run your whole truck and your everything off of that. This truck had the KSC 316 or KSS 369s in the front, that's 6.5-inch three-way component set. And it had 3 pairs of KSS 365s. So it had a lot of speakers in it. 3 solo 10 L7T10s in the console. God, those sound good. Mm-hmm. And that truck, down firing, it just absolutely pounded. I love the old school with the splatter paint look. It really gave it a nice little touch, and of course they carried that theme onto the back wall. Once again, they follow through, and this had 4 LX amplifiers in it. It had 3 LX 504s and a 1650.1 running those 8s. And once again, this truck really, really sounded nice. And here's the throwback. If I remember right, this is Marky Dietrich's. I think it was, God, what was that car? I don't remember what the car was, but this is the old school Kicker competition group. This was probably 23, 24, 25 years ago, if not more. So I love the fading paint. That paint was done by Cal down in Louisiana. Custom paint by Cal. You always knew one of Cal's paint jobs. I mean, he had such a unique style, and the colors were just through the roof cool. So great install. And I love this one too. I love the octagon with all the L7s. I bet you that's got plenty of bass. And another cool install. I don't even know what car that is. Do you? It's not a Corvette, is it?
I can't tell. It might be.
I can't tell with those vents. But another really neat install with the carbon fiber cues and the red accents and the LEDs, and obviously someone giving tribute to the Navy. Once again, thank you to our veterans. But great speaker, and they actually used the L7Rs to the red stitching matched as well. So all those little details. This is another car. This is actually Tony O'Toole's car. Tony I met when we went to New Zealand 20-some years ago when we first set our distributor up over there, and spent 2 weeks there on about 3 different years in a row. Tony, I think this is his 85 Trans Am. I forgot what year it is, but it's that era with the gold school woofers that he had Irby sign when Irby was in Australia. And of course, he's got the marine amplifiers, which work great for car audio as well. No reason not to, but very, very nice, clean install. And I wish I had other pictures. It is so unique to see all these Australian cars, and then you see this black and gold Trans Am sitting there, from the United States. And like, yeah, that's just cool. You've had one of those cars of that era, haven't you?
Yeah, I've had 3 actually. One was
car collector,
gunmetal gray. One was metal flake red, and then the other one was just plain red.
Nice. Another real simple, clean install. A couple of Solex woofers with a kicker amplifier, and once again, a single LX 3001 is perfect for a pair of XS or X woofers, I should say. Or if you've got the XS when they're available, amplifiers, of course, a Warhorse or a 3001 per woofer. And I know some of you guys are going to do 1 per voice coil. I can't stop you there.
That looks like a 1650 kind of.
Yeah, it's not a 3000. It's not big enough because it's not the big chassis.
Yeah.
So there's only 3 amplifiers in the LX line that are in the big chassis. That's the 3000, the 1205, and the 1307. And another picture, I hadn't actually seen this before. This is actually Drew Jones's little Volkswagen with the 6 solo X woofers in the back.
Pretty killer looking panel.
Yep, and of course you've got the little readouts for the Warhorse amplifiers, but that's the center console, just very nicely done. It doesn't matter if it's an SPL vehicle. It's really nice when people take pride in their vehicles. And other than the fact that Drew does abuse that thing with the bass, I mean, he's already ripped the hatch off that thing I don't know how many times. Just brutal. But once again, great looking install. I love how the detail and the cosmetic, the lighting all works together on this. So it's time to give away some stuff.
I think so.
What do you think? I think I thought I heard Colin was working from a remote back there. So Colin, if you're listening to me, who's going to be our 3rd prize winner? We've got Greg Y from Texas.
Congrats, Greg.
Why, Greg? No, Greg Y from Texas. So you're going to win the TWS or TW2s. I always want to say TWS, but they're TW2s. You're going to get the koozie and the Gray Kicker t-shirt. Watch for an email from Colin. Make sure you give your name, your address, your phone number, your shirt size, and of all things, it's got to be an actual address. It cannot be a P.O. box, so he'll ship your prizes to you. 2nd place winner is going to be for the TW1s. It's going to be Robert G. from Illinois.
Congrats, Robert.
Yep, I'm not sure where in Illinois, but I know Carlos and I are both from the Chicago area. I moved from Chicago here, and so did Carlos to work for us. So congratulations, Robert.
So that's what's wrong with you two.
Well, that's one of the things that's wrong with the both of us, and just one of many, actually. The grand prize winner is going to be Jacob. Who's going to win the Bullfrog, the BF100 tonight?
I don't know. Looks like it's Victor C. from New Jersey. Congrats,
All right.
guys.
Congratulations, Victor from New Jersey. And congratulations, all you guys, for winning. Thank you guys for sticking with us tonight and sitting in on our SEMA recap.
John,
don't forget the next show we do, which will be in 2 weeks. I'll be back, and we're going to have. Well, yes, he's right. I kind of skipped that. Jacob, tell him what else we're going to do. Tell him about this new contest.
I think we're going to do a $2,500 Christmas shopping spree. Is that going to be the grand prize winner on December 23rd?
No, that's usually in addition to.
In addition to.
So $2,500 shopping spree, and of course, there's gonna be a few limits on that. I think we learned last time our grand prize winner wanted to order 120 sets of earbuds. I'm not kidding. It's gonna be one system. We will help you design the system if you want, but it's gonna be $2,500 at MSRP on the website. So that's still a lot of good gear, and that'll make somebody's Christmas pretty nice. So we'll be doing that on December 23rd. So right before Christmas, we'll give that away, and of course, we'll still have the usual 3 giveaway, the first, second, and third prizes. So cool. Thank you for reminding me. I didn't have my sheet in front of me. I got my laptop open, and of course, he's got my paper over there that tells me what we're going to do. I hate it when we do different things, and I have to remember them because I get so excited about the new stuff. But 2 weeks from tonight, once again, tune in. We will have in-depth on the XS with the engineer himself. So get your questions ready, and if there's anything you need answered right away, support at kicker.com. Just don't ask for prices. Don't ask for shipping dates. But yeah, first quarter next year. So, guys, thanks for tuning in. Hope you have a good night. Sorry you're not feeling well, Andy. Hope you get some rest, and we'll look forward to catching you on your next show. And thanks to Jacob for sitting next to me and hosting the show with me. And once again, finally, thank you again to all of our veterans out there. Thank you for your service. Everybody have a good night. Keep on rocking, and we'll be back in 2 weeks.
Thunder blast through endless skies. Driving forward never dies. Kicker unmasked, live it loud. Break the silence, join the crowd. Rock the planet, feel the fire. Shake the world, lift it higher. Whoa! Wires twist like veins of steel. Born to crush, born to feel. Lightning runs through every chord. Power surge, the final word.